Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, October 5th. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, come up to this microphone, give us your name and address, tell us what's on your mind. Call the roll, please.
Cedar?
Here.
Ellery?
Here.
Kinsfater?
Here.
Lupa?
Here.
Laporte?
Here.
McCartney?
Here.
Watt?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Under the consent agenda, the City Council minutes of September 21st, 2020, regular and closed meetings, recommendation approved.
So move.
Support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 5, reports of administration. Mr. Rothy.
Yes, a few updates this evening. First, the work on the water plant improvement study continues. A lot of the electrical and structural components of the study have been completed. They're targeting December 1st draft due to city staff for review, so that project's moving forward. As of today, they started work on the modernization of the M29 Clinton Avenue light. It'll be exciting to see that project complete. They're going to start with underground work and then move on to the modernization of the signal itself in the coming weeks. As far as the DPW cell tower, I've been in contact with a few other industry consultants as well as potential buyers. We'll have more information on that to come soon for our next meeting. Also want to talk about our sewer lining project that we approved back in May, I think, for $150,000. Some of that work was completed on our major streets. I don't remember which those were. I think one of them was 3rd, but the project has been stalled for a while. We're trying to ramp that back up, but that'll continue soon. And as well as we've discovered that Adams Street, which is where the water plant is, we had some issues when we did our weekly back flushing, cleaning out the water plant system. There was some tree roots blocking the sewer, and that caused some of the backwater wash to enter people's basements. So we were able, and all of that was handled through our insurance carrier. But in removing the roots and televising Adams Street sewer, we found certain sections that are very good candidates for lining. It's something we want to move forward with, and we'll bring a proposal for council to do that. But it's important to line the sewer versus replace it, because it does go under the railroad track and everything, and that's very difficult, to get railroads on board with. We have to open everything up and replace it. But we just passed off the footage to the engineer today to review and provide their recommendation for that sewer main improvement. And otherwise, with that concludes my report for the evening.
How about Sinclair Highway?
I've spoke with the owner of Raymond Excavating on Friday. He told me that pavement cutting would begin tomorrow, and that paving would be Thursday and Friday of this week.
And when will Cass Avenue be over?
Cass will be paved, I believe, Thursday of this week.
Okay.
That project, as well as the block on 8th Street, both of those will be done by Saturday.
Isn't that project supposed to go to 3rd Street or no?
3rd Street's complete.
Oh,
No, you mean Cass?
Yeah.
No, Cass was only ever for those 4 blocks.
Okay.
Anybody else for Mr. Rothy? All right. Mr. Downey is not here tonight. Any city departments?
Yes, Your Honor. Oh. Just another quick reminder of an election on November 3rd. Polls will be open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Would you take a minute and just tell me what you were telling me about today, about those stuff that's coming in the mail that's not ours?
Oh.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, that's fine. I mentioned at one of our previous council meetings that there are numerous applications being sent to registered voters throughout the state of Michigan. So the city of St. Clair maintains a permanent absent voter list. That is by choice. So voters ask to be on that list, and then they receive an application from the clerk's office. There are other groups, and they are legally entitled to do so, that get the voter registration records and send out applications. And they come from all different parties and candidates, proposals, grassroots. Lots of different groups send these applications out. But there is only one from the city of St. Clair. However, they're all valid, they're all legal. You might get 1, you might get 5. It doesn't matter how many you sign and return to the city of St. Clair, you're only going to get 1 ballot. 1 application, 1 ballot. So I know it's confusing because there's so many coming in the mail. I get numerous calls saying, I already filled this out, why am I getting another one? And it's because you're getting it from other groups, not the city of St. Clair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That doesn't sound confusing at all.
A question for the
Oh, you got something?
city clerk. How often does the city go through and update our voter rolls and purging whatever need to be done?
The city of St. Clair maintains our inbox, that's the qualified voter file, on a daily basis. So we get updates from the Secretary of State's office and of course any of our walk-in residents who need to change something. So we maintain it every day, but we never purge. Clerks are not allowed to cancel someone's voter registration until they ask us to, or until they pass on, or we get some direction from a verifiable source, like the Secretary of State's office, the post office. If they tell us they moved, we will update the record. But on a daily basis, we look at it all throughout the entire year, not just election season.
Thank you. Chief, what do you got?
I apologize for being late, but I was at St. Mary's there having an Alice training tonight, so. But I want to give you an update on the tornado sirens in case y'all read the Times Herald the other day. They finally have got a Homeland Security grant to fix all 52 of the ones in the county that are broke. Part of that is they've negotiated a maintenance agreement, and once they fix them in the next 6 to 8 months, hopefully by spring, it'll be each jurisdiction's responsibility to maintain them yearly. Now the contract they negotiated for R2, it's going to be around, they're going to come talk to us once they're fixed, but it's about $300 a year for the one in Palmer Park and about $400 because of the battery pack for the one on St. Clair yearly. So about a little over $700 a year to keep those so they work all the time and communicate. So County Board of Commissioners voted Thursday to approve the process. The grant's been approved, so as soon as the company they hired can get to it, they're going to start repairing the ones that don't work at all first, then they'll go to the ones that work intermittently, and then they'll come to you to talk about the maintenance once that are up and running. So I just want to give you a heads up. It might cost us a little over $700 a year to make sure they work for the citizens from here on out. So,
Thank you, Chief.
all right.
Chief, I have a question for you. Last meeting, you said that there were going to be illegal parking on the east side of the road, just south of Harriet and South Riverside. When do you plan on getting signs up there?
Whenever Bob gets those signs, I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know if he doesn't make them, so he's got to order them, or I think Marysville DPW makes signs, so I don't know how he gets those.
And then you allow the residents, time to adjust to that?
Yeah, we'll put a flag on it, and
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
we'll still enforce the state law, which is 15 feet. Just the extra 35 feet we'll have to wait. So.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any other departments? We'll go to D, authorities, commissioners, committee chairman, council reps, anybody? Number 6 is unfinished business. Consideration of North Riverside Sewell proposal. We have Ryan Kern here. We have Mr. Gothi. Who's starting this? You?
I can kick us off. So again, before you is the same proposal you saw at our workshop last month on North Riverside Avenue. I included an additional handout just on where the funding for this project will come from. At this point, I'm available for questions, as well as our engineer, Mr. Kern.
Anybody have some questions for Mr. Kern or Mr. Gothi?
Where is he?
You want to come up there, Ryan? I think we might get a couple something here from some of these guys.
Yeah, I just had a question I was asking the mayor and the superintendent earlier. A couple meetings ago, we were talking about it. I think one of the guys from the audience asked a question about the township sewage on the Riverside. That does not connect into this that we're talking about?
It does not.
So
no.
where does that go?
That I'm not sure if it's pumped through grinder pumps up in front of the homes. I'm not sure how that layout is. I can find that out, but I'm not familiar with how theirs is laid out. But it does not connect into the city system
At that point.
at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was I think that was put in well after what we had. But was there a reason that they decided to stay off the water and stay up onto the road, which I'm assuming they did? I mean, are we making the right decision putting it back down on the water?
It's gonna be a lot, there's gonna be a lot more cost to putting a new sewer up.
I understand.
Yeah, I think that's the best solution, is to replace it down behind the homes. Keep it as a gravity-fed system, yes. As far as when the township system was installed, that I don't know either, but I can find that information out for you.
Anybody else?
But doesn't the township system, isn't that on Range Road? Goes down, there's a pumping
I believe it
station.
does, yes.
How much more money if we decided to bring it up?
We can look at that, we can look at the cost, but I know it'll be significantly more.
Significantly like double, or?
I would say at least double. You got, it's narrow right away up there. You'd have to get easements or put that sewer underneath the roadway. You've got grinder pumps that you would have to install. The sewer leads from each home currently go to the rear of the home. You'd have to redirect those to the front of the home and install a grinder pump. There'd be a lot more work
What
involved.
size is the sewer on the west side of 29? I mean, was that big enough to accommodate both sides of the road?
It could be. I'd have to look. I'm not sure.
I mean, I just want to make sure that we've
Yeah.
looked at every option before we go ahead and spend, almost $750,000. I just want to make sure that we're where we should be.
Sure. I can look at all that information for
Well,
you.
the other concern I have is we're spending half of our sewer fund.
Yeah.
I don't like us being at an 88% operating expenditure cost.
You think that's too low?
Well, I mean, we got a project coming up pretty soon, I think, on Goff Street. I mean, we're going to be looking at zero here. We'll be in the hole. And
And not even to mention if we get an emergency, does the emergency sewer fund or
I
emergency?
mean, I understand that it's got to be done, but I just want to make sure that we're
Are you suggesting,
covering all our bases before we make a decision.
are you suggesting that we should get the other costs?
I kind of agree, Mike, that if we were to look at the west side, if the west side's capable of handling the sewage from the homes on the east side, to look at what it would cost you'd have to bore under the road probably, right?
Right.
So you'd be boring in each tap, bringing the taps out and then abandoning the system on the Riverside. So I think to look at that cost might be something we should do. I mean, we're not going to get this done this year anyway.
Well, I hate to spend this kind of money and find out, well, in hindsight, we would have been better off taking.
But I think we need to move how many homes is this serving now?
It was 20.
About 20 homes.
So
yeah.
20, we'd have about 20
Yeah.
taps to put in from
From the west side?
the west, to the west side sewer.
Yeah.
So you'd have to take them taps from the back of the homes where they're at now, bring them to the front, run them under the road, and install grinder pumps to lift it up over across
Right.
the street.
Correct. Yeah, we can look at those costs for you and present those to you.
And there's the question of who is responsible for maintaining those pumps.
Mm-hmm.
That would have to be a decision by council.
Right.
Oh, we are
What
now.
are our options?
I believe it could be the city maintains the pumps in the private residences, or the private residences maintain their private pump.
Oh.
If we did that, would
Right.
that do away with the lift station there, though?
Yeah, you wouldn't have,
So, I
you wouldn't have the
mean,
two lift stations
I
there.
just don't think that we've looked at everything that we need to look at. I could be wrong, but
When were we
That's the way I-
thinking this project could start next spring?
Yeah, I would say in the spring, yeah.
So
Yes.
do we have time to do this?
Yeah, I can look at that. Present it to you pretty quickly. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if it's not much more, that might be a much wiser decision. To have it all on the west side.
and if we
So out of
can-
the 20 homes that are already tied into the one, everything else has gone to the west side?
Yeah.
Homes on-
I
I don't know how many homes are on.
I think there's only 20
South of
on
Brown?
the Riverside.
Yeah,
what about the houses south of Brown?
those I believe are still tied in on the east side as well, I believe, but they're not,
They are.
yeah. But they're downstream of the lift station. I don't think there's any issues. The sewer's not as close to the river as it
Mhm.
is north of the lift stations.
That's just my thoughts, but
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah.
action with it.
Well, we were just considering it tonight anyway. But I mean, we could have voted on it if you guys felt the urge to do so. But if the sentiment is, let's have this guy look at going across, underneath the road and across, if is that shared by the group pretty much?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay,
All
we
right.
will do that.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Yep.
All right, then, I guess we'll go to number 7, new business. A, approved proposal for professional services Clinton Avenue bike path. You might as well stay right there, huh? You want to kick that off?
We vote on this?
We're going to tonight. Oh, maybe. Okay. All right, Mr. Ralph, you want to?
As you are all aware, we are moving along in our process to install the bike path on Clinton Avenue. We're at the point now where MDOT has said begin your design engineering. Before you this evening is a proposal from AEW. Ryan's here to talk about that. We have a representative from our trail committee, Jim Beer, as well as Recreation Director Therese Hawkins here to talk more about the project. The only comment I would add is that the city of St. Clair received a $50,000 grant to do design engineering for this project, so that grant would be used to cover this proposal this evening. No city funds would be spent to fund this design proposal. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kern.
Back in February, we did apply to MDOT for Transportation Alternatives Program grant to cover a portion of the cost to install a 10-foot wide asphalt bike path along the north side of Clinton Avenue from Kearney Drive to Riverside Avenue. We've now received a conditional commitment from the state. They're committed as long as the city obligates the funding, the match funding for the project. We'll move forward with the project. We're looking at moving pretty quickly with the design and getting the design completed by the end of the year. In order to meet the requirements that MDOT has, there's several steps that need to take place prior to approval of the grant. First, obviously, getting the design done at the end of the year, we would then submit a program application to the state of Michigan for approval to have the funds obligated and get the 80% design plans to them by the end of the year. At that point, we have a grade inspection meeting with the state to go over those plans, make sure that everything's compliant. They'll give us any comments that they may have, make sure everything's compliant to MDOT standards of the TAP grant program, and then we'll complete final plans and specs that we would submit in March. The project would then be bid out in May, and we would be looking at a June bid opening and starting construction in July and having this as a summer into fall 2021 project. As part of the design project, we do propose 2 public meetings, provide public input on the project. One after we get the topographical survey done and get a preliminary layout done of the project. We would then ask to have a public meeting to provide public input. The TAP grant program does encourage you to have public comment and get the public involved in the design process. We would then have a second meeting after we've met with MDOT and finalized the design as well. With that, I'll open it up to any questions that you might have.
I know that we're going to be doing some discussion about this at a later time, but I don't think it makes sense to go all the way to Main Street because you have brand new sidewalk, I think either 6th Street South or 5th Street
From
South.
5th Street South.
5th Street
yes.
South. So
Yes.
it doesn't make sense to tear that up and put down.
I know we've had some discussion with that as far as.
Other than that, it's a great idea.
Right, whether you leave the brick there or we do replace it with asphalt or we do something different there. I know there's been some discussion since we've applied for the grant back in February of what we want to actually do there. So we've got time, that'll be part of the design phase as far as what the final.
I agree with you, John, because I went down there with Ryan and Warren, and we looked at that, and that we received a grant to put that cobblestone, whatever it's called, even there, you know.
Stamped concrete, yeah.
And what I proposed to Ryan at that time was maybe leave that there, but then on each side of it, put some sort of not highlighted, but like a different colored brick to kind of like offset it, make it look nice, you know? So anyway, he says we still can do that.
Yeah, the question is whether MDOT will allow it. I mean,
Right,
that'd be part of our
that's- yeah.
design phase. Yeah, we'd have to have that discussion with MDOT to see if they would allow that. But it does have to be a minimum 10-foot wide to meet the TAP grant requirements. Obviously, it's not that wide.
Even if you stopped it at Fifth Street?
If you did nothing, if you just stopped it at Fifth Street, then no, we wouldn't have to, if we're not doing any construction beyond Fifth Street. But the intent is to get it to Riverside, the path to Riverside Avenue, as that is part of the Trails Master Plan, part of the critical gap. Because in the future, then
That
there'll be
sidewalk was
bicycle
never
facilities.
intended to be a tie-in to the bridge debate. It was never intended for that. When we were on the committees for downtown development, planning, and council, that project was never intended to suffice to the bridge debate trail. It just was a sidewalk. It was put in, wasn't even put in to meet, and met current specs as far as width. So.
You're talking about the brick paver
We're
part?
talking about well, it's not brick paver, it's stamped concrete.
Or stamped concrete, yeah.
And as, like I said, we had money spent on it, but you talk to a lot of people who bike it, push strollers on it. Half people hate it, half people love it. It should have never been probably stamped, just because it's rough to ride on, it's rough to push wagons on, it's rough to push strollers on. But anyway,
It looks a lot nicer
the
than
the
asphalt.
10-foot, if we stop, we'd have to stop the project literally at 6th Street. Because then if we didn't, we wouldn't qualify for the additional monies that we're receiving through the grants. Because it has to be 10 feet wide.
Correct.
So, as long as we didn't jeopardize,
Well, that'd be Fifth Street.
Yeah,
as long as we
that's-
didn't jeopardize that, then I don't have an issue with it. That's just the feedback that I've gotten since we put it in.
Jim, do you want to add anything to this discussion? I know that you've been very involved. Feel free to come on up and say a few words about the bridge debate or whatever you want to talk about.
Sure. Jim Beer, 1620 North Delano. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just really to concur with what Ryan's saying, that it's been identified as a critical gap. That's really what established putting this route in. As you guys know, we evaluated different routes. This is what looks best. I'm comfortable at this point of proceeding with the design and working at the best way to define and taking that 10-foot wide route all the way down. It's going the full route, John, to go from Clinton all the way down to Riverside. The goal that we're doing through the whole regional trail expansion is to tie in the economic centers of the communities. So maintaining that real trail along that whole route really is pretty important to do. And continuing to work with MDOT as to how we better define the route as it continues on North Riverside. That discussion's underway right now as well. But I ask for your support for this next step in this project. I think that it's going to be something we'll all enjoy as it's completed. I look at, again, all the people that walk as well as ride bike, but at St. Clair, it's almost more people are walking, and we'll continue to use this to benefit.
I know I asked this before, but who maintains that? That would be the city then, right?
This would be the city's maintaining it, much like we maintain
For
the
that
path.
purpose
on
only, I
Kearney.
think it's worth it, because I'll tell you, in the wintertime, I walk that street all the time going to work, and half the people there shovel their sidewalk, especially going down that hill. It becomes very dangerous. So I like the idea that the city will be maintaining that.
That's a good point, because that's really, again, when we talked about do we go in one spot or another, it's seeing all that pedestrian traffic right now, all the
Right.
walkers, the runners, the families, and people with bikes, but really that pedestrian traffic, there's places where you can't walk side by side right now because the edges of the sidewalk have grown in and they haven't been maintained. This goes in, the city maintains it, you're going to have a great artery for people walking through town.
Right.
Any questions for Jim or Brian? Thank you, gentlemen. I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll move, Your Honor.
I'll support.
all right, the motion is made and supported to approve the proposal for professional services, Clinton Avenue Bike Path. Any other further questions, discussions? Call the roll, please.
That was Councilmember McCartney and Councilmember Koopa.
Correct.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Ellery,
No.
Kidspotter,
No.
Koopa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney,
Yes.
Watt,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Letter B, municipal building parking lot lights. Mr. Goldie.
Yes, this is just a quick item for discussion, want some direction on. When I came forward a few months ago for the idea to redo our municipal parking lot, I mentioned the idea of wanting to do light fixture upgrades to LED to match the basically everything else in town, including all our city buildings, we've gone to LEDs. Wasn't able to get that done in the previous fiscal year, and nothing is budgeted for that particular project this year. So I know we have some lights out now, we could replace those, but I just wanted to pitch to any of the council to say if you'd like to go out for, if I came back to you saying I need additional funds to do light fixture upgrades, if that would be something that would be received favorably by the city council. Of course, we'd be going out for bids for this work too. Again, I'm not going to do it because I don't have money in the budget allocated for it at this time. Again, when I made the budget back in April, essentially, I thought it would have been completed in the current fiscal year that just ended last week, and it wasn't. So, just looking for direction on what to do with this particular project.
How many lights are out there?
I wish I knew that off the top of my head. I don't. I think there's probably 7 or 8 poles at least. Yeah. All right.
Well, what would be the harm to get it?
On the north end, by the park.
Yeah.
The entrance to the parking lot. So,
I mean, I don't see a harm in directing the administration to get a quote to replace the lights.
Yeah.
The light. the
Again,
parking lot gets
it's
used.
likely this will probably approach. It'll be north of 5,000, I would imagine, to do all the work required. So, again, I'm still going to bring it back before council, even though that's within my ability to approve, because again, no funding has been specifically set aside for this project this fiscal year.
All right, is everybody okay with letting the administration look into it and come back to us with some numbers and specifics? All right.
All right. Thank you.
We don't need a motion for that. C, approve addition to special event permit St. Clair Halloween Nights. Chief?
The last council meeting, I can't remember the gal's name. Kelly talked about a little lantern walk at Gregg Park, and we just kind of thought we'd add it to it, but it's become a bigger project, so we figured we'd have them put a special event permit. It's going to be 2 days, 15th and 16th. They're going to need our parking lot, and I can't remember, but they have all the paperwork, and they've added that to their insurance. So,
Motion to approve.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Chief. Let's go to D. We have a special guest here tonight, Jason Steyer from the St. Clair Association Public Art Project. Jason?
Good evening, Mayor Cedar, council members. Thanks for having me this evening. I know Teresa's going to introduce me here in a moment as part of the community leadership team for the First Impression Tourism Project that we've been working on with Michigan State. I'm also here tonight on behalf of the St. Clair Art Association Public Art Committee in collaboration with Riverview East High School and the Diversity Initiative of St. Clair County. If you're familiar with the Public Art Committee, our mission is to help enhance our community through the arts. In the past, we've done projects spanning from the Two Ships Fountain in Plaza Park, the Mosaic Walleye Wally in Rotary Park, the artwork at the St. Clair Skate Park, the Children's Wing at the St. Clair Library. Even the artwork on the wall behind you here is all part of what the Public Art Committee does to help enhance our community through the arts. So recently, we've been working with Therese. We've taken some walks through our local parks and talked about the 5-year Parks Master Plan and what we can do to, again, enhance and embellish the wonderful public spaces that we already have available by incorporating creativity and the arts. So we're just discussing ideas ranging from a sculpture trail that people could travel through Gregg Park and enjoy art that's hidden in nature. We're discussing some creative gathering spaces, especially right now in the time of social distancing. Parks are important. We want to make sure they're a draw not just for people in our community, but to draw people from outside of our community as well. So as part of that initiative, we'd like to kick off a project in the near future, ideally next week, where we could target one of the areas that was identified when we walked through Gregg Park, and that is the painted portion of the Bridge to Bay Trail that travels through the parking lot. So right now it is simply white stripes that indicate where that bike trail is. So as we do in other cases, we looked at that as an opportunity. The opportunity here would be to recruit artists from our community and come out and utilize that as a canvas and create a message of, again, bringing people together during these difficult times. So as part of my work with the Diversity Initiative of St. Clair County is communicating that message of creating opportunities, equal opportunities for all, respecting that everyone has a different perspective, and bringing people together in any way that we can to unite rather than divide and separate. So our proposal tonight is to, if the city would allow, to bring out some artists of various ages and abilities and write the message. It's the Diversity Initiative's hashtag SCC Better Together. So that's St. Clair County Better Together. So again, it's a nonpartisan message of bringing our community together, doing so through the arts. We're equipped to do so. We have the artists willing to do it, the supplies left over from past public art projects, and we're simply seeking your permission to do so. So I certainly welcome any questions,
I
comments.
like it. I like it a lot. I'm glad you came to us.
As it starts to wear, though, who's gonna do we have a local artist that's gonna keep it up for us, or?
Yeah, our
I mean,
goal
we
is,
love all this stuff that comes in, but then all of a sudden, the person that put it there is gone, and
Sure.
then we gotta figure out what we're gonna do from there.
right, and this is, we know that parking lots get repaved, bike paths get, repainted. So if this is temporary, that's fine. We think it's a powerful message for the moment. We've designed it in a way where artists will be socially distanced, so the letters will be painted 6 feet apart. And again, we'll continue to maintain, just as we do our other public art projects, and we're always open to new ideas as the parks evolve and grow.
Good.
Need motion?
I believe so.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion's been made by Kinsford and supported by Kufa to approve the St. Clair Association Public Art Project. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? You stay right there, because I have a question for you. Chief, do you have a question or something?
Yeah, I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but the only concern I have is the only people that are going to know you gave permission are the people watching this and reading the voice. So if somebody sees hashtag whatever, I don't want them doing it down at Jackson and Carnegie or Boardwalk, or that's the only issue I have.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a folding sign you can put up there saying St. Clair Art?
Absolutely, and we'll promote and communicate the idea as clearly as we can through a variety of media.
Per approval from city council, something on there?
Absolutely.
Good. Now, before you go, I'm just going to give you something to let stew up there, okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully next year we get MDOT into town and some of our crosswalks get redone. And I've seen some cool things online, what they do with crosswalks. Like some crosswalks, they make them look like piano keys or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that inside your head for now, okay?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
All right, see ya. Are you still for this, or is this, Teresa, it's you? E? Creative project update, FIT website?
Thank you. I was hoping we could have our project featured on the TV, but we don't have the technical support from CTV tonight, so I made copies for you. And I do have some additional copies for the public if you want to take a look at it. Last year, the City of St. Clair participated in the First Impression Tourism MSU Extension Project. And this is an update of what we've been working on since we received our report from them. To be eligible for the grant, the first thing we had to do was put together a community leadership team. So this team has been working on this project for over a year, and I wanted to acknowledge them. So we have Jason Steyer from the St. Clair Art Association, and we also had as an alternate Dave Fry from the St. Clair Art Association on the committee. Chrissy Gorzen from the Historical Commission, Tim Coughlin, a local business owner, and Brian Olatowski from the St. Clair Chamber, and Annette Sturdy and myself represented the city on the committee. So back in the spring of 2019, we had some first-time visitors come to St. Clair as part of this project, and they were going to share their experience and their first impressions of the city. We had a report of their findings this time last year. It was about September, October. They made a presentation. It was to the community. And again, they listed all the first-time visitors, their experience, their first impressions. They did an assessment. They identified some of the challenges. They made suggestions and recommendations. And the community leadership team took all this information from the report back, and we met, and we felt that the most important thing to pursue was some of the digital or social media challenges that we had for our city, and also to look at community branding and kind of defining St. Clair as a destination location. So some of the digital challenges we had, the first time users were supposed to search the city of St. Clair online before they came for their visit. And they commented that there were like 4 different websites. The websites, a lot of the websites were not updated, they were buried, and they were hard to find. We also had an issue with St. Clair Shores autofilling. So when they typed in City of St. Clair Shores came up, and some of the visitors actually were searching St. Clair Shores website instead of the City of St. Clair. That was a problem. And one of the recommendations was to consolidate or link all of these different websites into one. So we decided to apply for a grant with the Community Foundation to redesign the City of St. Clair, the St. Clair on the River website, to use that as our domain and main website. And we also, as part of the grant requests and recommendations that we received from the report, was to do an event, Be a Tourist in Your Own Town. So we did get that grant approved, and by participating in the FIT grant, we also received a $2,000 amount, and we use that as our matching fund. So we've been able to work on updating our website, and you have a copy here of what is our home page. I will say, because of COVID-19, we were anticipating that we would be launching this site in the spring, but everything got delayed. And we were going to do Be a Tourist in Your Own Town at the same time that we launched the website, but we're looking at doing that event in 2021. So this is our home page, and the picture that you see on the front of the waving statue, if you go online, we're still working on the website. We hope we'll have a mid-October to late October launch, but that's actually a video that is ongoing on the website. And we did decide to use the gateway from the everyday, that little motto that's on the current website, kind of as our logo, and to maintain that on the St. Clair on the River website. And then at the top, you can see that there's different headings. And the first one is Explore. And that one is probably the most detailed one, and I think the most exciting one, because you can click on that. And as part of that, one of the features that you can look at is outdoor adventures. So we have a segment that just has outdoor recreation. So it identifies the golf course. If you're looking for you're coming to town and you want to know where the tennis court is, or a basketball court, whether it's school, park, facilities that are available. And also on that website, there's a link to the boat harbor with all of that information. There's also a link to the waterways. We feature the Pine River paddle, but we also have a link to the Blue Ways of St. Clair County. We have a biking, hiking, and walking that you can click on, and it features our local nature trails, both public and private, and a link to the Bridge to Bay. And then we also have, this is, again, just under Explore and Outdoor Adventures, a list of all of our parks. Another heading under Explore is Arts and Entertainment. So you can click on Live Entertainment, which would include our concerts downtown, the St. Clair Art Association, a link to their website, the St. Clair Library, the Historical Museum, the Palmer Park Freighter Tour, which we're going to talk about later, and a walking sculpture tour. You can click on to the freighter watching, and we're trying to work with boatnerds.com to have a live cam in St. Clair of the freighter traffic as it goes on the St. Clair River, so we're hoping we can include that. And then there's also a special events link that will list our annual events, such as the St. Clair Art Fair, the fireworks, the boat races, the Santa Parade and things like that, that those are annual events. So just clicking on that Explore button, you have access to all of that. And then the other headings are mainly lists that people can access. So there's a drink and dine, a shopping header, a stay or lodging, and then there is a calendar of events that will just list by month, by week, any way that you can search for events that are going on. So the homepage, again, at the top, there's a video. There's another portion where you can link onto the Explore, Drink and Dine, and Shop. On the back, we've identified some of the reasons to love St. Clair, and we listed our waterways, our marinas, our restaurants and shops, and boutiques. And we also acknowledge that we have the world's longest freshwater boardwalk and amazing freighter viewing in our community. And then I had to cut and paste for the presentation tonight, but it would list any of the upcoming events right there on the homepage. We have some more graphics. And then at the bottom of the page, we do have a map of the city of St. Clair that identifies a lot of our facilities. We are proposing to have some paid advertisement on the homepage that will help pay for the site. The city clerk's office will be the administrator for this website, so they will be responsible, along with the community leadership team, to keep the website up to date. And the advertising costs could also help pay for some events, like be a tourist in your own town if we make that an annual event. And then at the bottom, there's a search button, a Facebook page that links to the St. Clair on the River, and there's also links to the City of St. Clair, the Chamber. We chose to list groups and organizations for the City of St. Clair also on the website, and there's a link to the St. Clair Recreation Department. So that's just all on the homepage. So again, we're really just finalizing the website. We hope to have it launched by the end of October, and we'll make sure that the public is aware of that. And that leads me to the other item that was on the agenda. Some council members asked for an update on the freighter project on the boardwalk. And one of the other things that one of our weaknesses that was identified in the FIT grant was that we did not really have a historical or a statement downtown to really incorporate our history into the downtown for visitors and residents. So I don't know if you recall, but back in 2017, Chrissy Gorzen approached the city council about doing a project on what was the old boardwalk, where she had markings on the boardwalk of the different ship lengths. I don't know if any of you recall that. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a test project to see what kind of response we got. We felt that we did get a lot of positive response for that program. And because of the FIT grant, we kind of thought that maybe this was the time to make it a permanent fixture on the boardwalk. There was some Michigan Arts and Humanity Action Grant funds available. We applied and we did get some funding that would help us with signage and marketing of that project. And there's a proposed sign that you have a copy of. We are proposing using QR codes, and all that information that's on the brochure you would be able to access on your phone or on the website. And we are still determining how we're going to put the lettering and the markings on the boardwalk. We've been looking at stenciling, calligraphy, and that type of thing. So that's been a little bit of a challenge for us, but we're going ahead with the brochure and the signage, and we'll make that determination. I know a couple of council members asked about whether this was some type of memorial type project, but it really isn't. It's historical. It does feature ships that were built in St. Clair and current freighters on the waterways. And it ties in the historical museum to the downtown. We also have the option of possibly doing a video tour of the freighter project, so that if people are not able to walk the boardwalk, they can look at a video that would show all the information there. The other thing that came up too is we have the tiles that are along Clinton Avenue with the freighters on it. They use the QR code. Most of those are not working. That maybe this would be another project that we would look at and updating those to kind of complement what we're doing at the freighter or along the boardwalk. So I didn't know if you had any questions or
Well, it sounds like you're
just
moving forward.
basic.
and when you
Yeah,
get
we've
to the
been
point
working
where you-
pretty hard on it. I don't know if Annette has anything to add to it. We want this website to be, yes, for tourists, but also for residents to use and to kind of be the go-to website for people if they're looking for things to do in St. Clair.
Yeah, so I'll just add, stclairontheriver.com is our current website maintained through the DDA. And so the information on there is enhanced through all of these discussions we've had. I think it encompasses so many different aspects of the community that Therese touched on, which is great. And having the calendar there, it will be more efficient from me personally, because all the events will be on that website, and I can just link it to the cityofstclair.com website instead of having to input it twice. So it streamlines it for the community and residents and tourists, and also for the administrator. So that's a positive thing. And I just want to publicly thank Therese for keeping us moving forward with this project, being the liaison to the MSU extension, and I'm really looking forward to the launch of the website. So thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, and thanks to your committee, too. Thank you, guys. Do you need any action tonight?
No, we're just moving forward and intended just to update you and what progress we've been making.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we will go to number 8, claims and accounts, September 24th, October 1st, 2020.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion as presented.
Support. All right, motion made by Laporte, supported by Kuva and Ellery. Pick one. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote number 9, public questions and public comments. Anyone have non-agenda items? 3 minutes for your moment in the sun. Ed? This is Ed, and I'm going to slaughter your last name, Ed, so I'm going to apologize right now, but it's Weschler?
That's good enough.
All right.
We can give them a little more than 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, 4.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
You give me your 3 minutes.
Mayor Cedar, council members, my name's Ed Weixler. I'm from Port Huron, Michigan. I'm the project director for the Bluewater Area Fallen Heroes Banner Project, which if you see any social media, you're probably aware of it. Annette told me 3 minutes. I had to do bullet points. Otherwise, you'll be changing your address and bringing a brown paper bag for lunch. This project has been 3 years in the making. There are 586 plus St. Clair County GIs who have died while in service to their country since World War I. We are trying to find photographs of each and every one of them to hang on the main streets of the communities that they lived in 1 week before, 1 week after Memorial Day, every year. Hopefully that will start next year. Now that the mask is going, I can go fog-free glasses. The banners will be distributed to cities, townships, and villages 10 days before Memorial Day and harvested 10 days after Memorial Day. We intended that these banners be displayed 1 week before Memorial Day and 1 week after. They will not be used for any other purpose, public or private. This project was strategically designed to be non-competitive amongst communities in St. Clair County. It is surgically designed to bring us together for 2 weeks out of the year, every year. This project is all about us and we, not I and me. The banners will reflect the sacrifice of young people who grew up immediately but never grew old. The qualifier for having a banner is not just limited to killed in action, but if the GI died while in military service to the country, he or she qualifies for a banner. What we need from city administration are the dimensions of existing hardware, the horizontal pieces off of the pole, and your existing banner size. If, for some reason or other, you cannot put these on that kind of hardware, we would then ask for you to communicate with us as to where you would like them displayed that would best reflect the sacrifice of your community. Only the ones from St. Clair will go in St. Clair. Many communities throughout the U.S. Do similar projects like this. In fact, I think the closest one is Lapeer. However, this project, our project, your project, is the only one in the United States that's county-wide. We could have easily done St. Clair County on our template. We chose not to because our dream is that this will spread. Here in Sanilac County, if they're interested in meeting the same criteria we've established for ourselves, the template would stay the same from, say, Algonac to the tip of the thumb. And what would that say about us as a collective of communities? The banner template is copywritten to our DBA, and we hope that the surrounding counties will be interested in following us. If they're willing to meet the same criteria, like I said, for display, we will consider making this template available to them. As of this date, actually as of yesterday, we scanned 262 photos of the 586 sacrifices from this county. We don't expect to get them all, but we'd sure love to try, and that's what we've been doing. We are blessed and honored to have the research and financial support of this project from Charles Fulton, Post 382, and the American Legion. So they've been involved almost since day one. This is, I believe, Marysville. This is Cottrellville Township. This is Port Huron size. I believe yours are a little bit smaller, but that's the reason why we need to communicate with your DDA to find out what size they are. I did it. I'm sure it's less than 3.5 or 3.
Ed, this is amazing. I mean, whatever we can do to help you, I think I'm not speaking for everyone, but I think I'm speaking for everyone. However we can help propagate this is an amazing thing.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. And now you probably have the dimensions and all that stuff he needs.
Actually, I would get those from Trace.
Trees.
One-stop shop.
Yeah.
Drop something behind it.
Do you need anything from us other than just our support, or? And then obviously the hardware stuff. Yeah.
Well, the photos too, right?
Pardon me?
Photos?
What I've done is I've given you a list of the photos from St. Clair area, the city of St. Clair, that we're still looking for. If you have any way of making those public.
Ms. DiNardo, have you seen the list yet or no?
Yeah, we've gone over the list a couple times.
Oh, have you? Okay.
We hope to get them up Memorial Day of next year. There's no cost for these banners to the families because as far as we're concerned, the family already paid. And relative to contributions and stuff, you see the cards that I passed out that I gave to Annette, and I have a stack here if you can make them available to the public. Virtually every contribution goes through the Community Foundation of St. Clair County. No one has access to the money. This project has been designed to be transparent and trustworthy, and again, it's about us and we, not I and me. So we will pick them up 10 days after. We will store them. We will bring them back. Wow, I can't believe I get off this easy.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comment? All right, then we will go to number 10, Mayor and City Council. I do have at least one that was so wonderfully reminded of. A young lady, Grace Mary Mullen. Grace Mary Mullen passed away recently, and she was the city treasurer, as far as we can configure, for many, 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 many years. And I can remember as a little kid going to City Hall and paying the water bill, and my mom would say, go see Mrs. Mullen. I'd see Mrs. Mullen, but she passed away. She was just a wonderful lady. Anything else, you guys?
Yeah, I got one thing. Knights of Columbus are having their second annual pasty sale. I believe there's 5 flavors, $7 a piece. If you're interested in ordering, call Brian at 810-357-5527.
Anybody else? Let's go to number 11. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss the strategy connected with the negotiation of collective bargaining agreement with the employees represented by the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, known as AFSCME. I'm going to ask for this motion to keep the closed session in here again for our guest, our labor attorney. Anybody wants to come back after the closed session, please go up to the lobby. We'll come up and get you. We probably will take action when we come out of this closed session. I thank you for being here. Have a good night. Be safe.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor, to go into closed session.
Call the roll, sorry.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Koopa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Blatt?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're going to go into closed session.